Now loading podcast, period.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Podcast Period, the internet's stupidest podcast. My name is Ben, and with me today, as always, my co-host David.
What's up, guys?
And we've got a third person on the podcast for the first time in quite a while. My wife has decided to come on and talk about some things that we're going to talk about today. We've got a lot of heavy stuff that we're going to talk about today, and as such, we're not going to be doing our trailers portion at the end, just because we didn't really feel like, with the subject matter that we're touching on, that it wouldn't be, I don't know. It feels kind of weird to sit back and watch a trailer and maybe make fun of it, and I don't know. So we're leaving that section out. Regardless, rest of the podcast is going to be pretty much the same, with the exception of the big topic that we're going to talk about, which is, I guess we'll just get right into it. It's probably the biggest event of 2020.
Coronavirus.
Other than COVID.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm betting on this being bigger culturally than COVID was.
I mean,
Probably bigger.
it should be too. It's more important,
Yeah.
I feel like.
Well, I mean, ever since the Black Lives Matter thing started happening because of, George Floyd, we don't really hear much about COVID-19 anymore.
No.
And it seems like a
don't.
lot of people rightfully don't even care.
Fine with
Yeah, it's almost like it was overblown to begin with.
Oh, who would
That's
have
not what
thought?
I'm saying. Anyway, so to kind of lead into this whole thing, I think we should probably touch on the inciting incident that Niccole talked about a little bit. I should have looked up the exact date because I don't remember the exact date that this happened. I'm going to look it up really, really, really quickly.
It's the 25th.
Of May, I think.
The
Yeah.
25th of May?
Yeah.
Okay. So on the 25th of May, a gentleman by the name of George Floyd got pulled out of his car on suspicion that he may have passed a phony $20 bill. During the stop, there were 4 policemen, I believe. And during the stop, one of the policemen had his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck. There is some video of this. I don't know if I've seen it. I don't know if David or Nicole's seen it.
I have not seen the footage.
Have you seen it, David?
I have seen bits and pieces of it, and to be honest, it broke my heart so damn much. I couldn't keep watching it.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
so disgusted by it.
Yeah, I personally, now, maybe I should see the footage, but personally, ever since I've become a mom, I've been more sensitive to cruelty and stuff like that. So personally, I don't think I could emotionally handle it, seeing a human life just disrespected like that.
It's
heavy.
I didn't watch the whole thing. I think I saw bits and pieces of it through a YouTube show that I watch every once in a while, the Philip DeFranco show. He's a news YouTuber, so he did an entire 20-minute video on this, and he showed a lot of the footage that's out there from this video. The basic gist of this is the original video that was released. I'm not sure if there's more footage or not, but I'm just going to reference the one video that I know of. Is 10 minutes long, and in about 9.5 of those minutes, this policeman has his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck, and the entire time, this guy is telling him that he can't breathe and that he he's pleading for his life,
Yeah,
basically.
He's begging for his life. I mean, you can tell he's in such distress, and the sincerity in his voice. He's begging for his life in this, and it just it breaks my heart. It really does. I can't watch it. I tried watching it just now. I had to stop. It's too much.
And there were people around them that were begging them to get off of him too. And this guy, none of them listened. But especially the guy that was on his neck didn't listen. So we're watching this entire 10-minute video, and right at the end, an ambulance comes, and finally he gets off of his neck. But it's long after this guy has stopped moving. Probably a good minute and a half or something like that. I
think it was 2.5 minutes of unconsciousness on Floyd's part.
So I believe they pronounced him dead when they brought him to the hospital, but I have a feeling he was probably dead there on that street.
Probably.
There was I don't know. I just don't have any words to express exactly how.
And the crazy thing is, as everyone knows, this is not the first incidence of police brutality against a person of color, more specifically a Black person.
Yeah.
And what boggles my mind is, I mean, I don't know if there's evidence that he actually passed a counterfeit 20. I mean, I've read some articles here and there, but I don't know if it's ever been definitive whether or not it actually was counterfeit. But regardless of whether or not it was counterfeit, think about the crime that was, okay? A counterfeit bill. It wasn't like he was being violent or anything, so anything would warrant him being pinned down to the ground to begin with. I don't even know if no, you said he was in his car, right? I haven't seen the footage, like I said, for emotional things.
Yeah, when they walked up on him, he was in his car, and they took him out.
So it wasn't like he was even trying to flee the scene or anything. It's just like, why would you even think to use that much force against someone who maybe used a fake 20 on something?
And here's the thing. It's even if he did end up using a phony $20 bill, there's no way of knowing whether he knew it was phony or not. And obviously we're not going to get an answer to that now, because nobody's going to focus on whether this dude passed a phony $20 bill knowingly or unknowingly because of what happened to him.
Yeah. Rightfully
so.
And this type of stuff also really disgusts me because, first of all, we're talking about someone who, I'm an educator, I teach kindergarten, and, part of our social studies unit is talking about community helpers, and a community helper is also a police officer. So this is someone who is an authority enough to where educators have to basically teach young children to respect these people. And, those who, because Ben and I have a family member who is in the police force, and he is a wonderful police officer, and a wonderful man, and a great guy, and a great husband, and great dad. So obviously he would never do something like this, but it makes people like our family member who is a dedicated and loyal and brave police officer, someone who I would gladly want to teach children of tomorrow's adults to respect. And it takes those people and just taints the whole profession, because how am I supposed to tell, a 5-year-old, you can use force against a police officer? I would never do that because, then they would be putting themselves in harm's way, down the line. It just makes it a very sticky situation.
Yeah. I don't know. This whole thing is just, it's insane. I have a feeling that I don't know. Like I said at the beginning, this is probably the biggest cultural event of our generation. Like a month ago, I would have said that COVID was going to be what the history books wrote 2020 about.
Exactly.
But now it's this. There's no doubt about it. It's this.
Yeah.
Well, Black Lives Matter didn't even, it began in Baltimore. I forgot what year that was. I think it was like 2015, 2016, maybe.
something like
I think
that.
Obama was still in office during that time. And, when Black Lives Matter first, became a thing and became a movement, and I think, were there riots in Baltimore? I think there were.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, if I'm going to be completely honest, I didn't actually even understand, in 2015 or 2016, what the purpose of the Black Lives Matter movement was. I mean, I kind of understood, but if I'm going to be honest, and, I thought that maybe they were being, I don't want to say overdramatic because that's really a bad phrase. There's no, but anyway, I didn't understand the movement exactly because I was like, what? I mean, I know there are still racists out there, but I mean, is racism really still that bad?
Oh, see, that was my takeaway. I was like, is it really a thing still? I honestly thought we were past this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I thought long ago that our generation who grew up. I know you two had at least some mixed ethnicities within your local school districts. I know I did. And I had plenty of colored people, Hispanics and Black. It didn't matter. I had plenty of friends that I had friends with that were of other colors. I thought we were done with this. And then Baltimore happens and it's like, well, okay, I guess we're not done.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, this is a very heavy topic.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now, I do want to put some facts in here real quick while we continue to have the discussion on it. So obviously it was George Floyd who died. Derek Chauvin was the officer who had his knee pressed into Floyd's neck. Has been charged. It was originally third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter. It has been upgraded to second-degree murder. So they upped the charges. $1 million bond bail. So very high bail for that. And then the others who were there at the scene, the other three officers, I think it's Quang or something like Kueng. Alexander K is what I'm going to call him because I mess up the name so bad. Thomas Lane and I don't even know how to pronounce this other guy's name. Thao? Maybe? I don't know. They've all been charged with something. It'll be interesting to see what they end up being at the end. But they've all been charged with at least second-degree manslaughter right now. Basically abetting the murder is what they're calling it. Aiding and abetting. So, I see justice in motion, I hope. I've seen justice in motion with other things, and people get off. So, time will only tell. But at least something seems to be coming out of this, I hope. But I just don't know.
Yeah, and hopefully it doesn't stop there. I mean, I'm not saying that we're going to be able to go after everybody who's ever done something like this in the police force, because I'm sure that there's plenty of people on the police force that have done something like this. But going forward, we definitely, as a society, we definitely need to be more aware about this sort of thing.
Yes.
Because certainly there have been spurts here and there with like Trayvon Martin and like there's another dude that I'm forgetting the name of right now, but there's been plenty of instances over the years where something like this has happened. Some person of color has been killed for doing basically nothing. Philando Castile, that's the guy that I was trying to remember.
Yeah.
Going forward, not only should we have to worry about this, But if something like this does happen, charges need to be enacted immediately. This doesn't need
Not
to
a
be
week
something
later.
that. Yeah, exactly. This is something that needs to happen as soon as all the facts are out, which the facts were out like literally the day of for this case.
Yeah.
Don't most police vehicles have dash cam footage anyway?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
See,
So
that's
there's no
that's
excuse.
another part of the problem. Apparently, he's been reprimanded before, for not having the dash cam working correctly or something like that.
Well, he also has 18 counts, I think, of history of using police
Excessive
force on people.
Yeah.
And most of the people that he did it to were persons of color. I think there may be one white person in the mix, but most of them were either black or Native American.
Yeah.
Which, again, that's messed up.
Yeah. I don't want any more George Floyds in the future. This is ridiculous. And some of the other cases that have happened in the past, there's a lot of uncertainty with it. Trayvon Martin supposedly had a gun. There could be other things, other reasons, other motivations for using lethal force.
Mm-hmm.
Guy gets gunned down. They thought he had a gun. They were going to pull a gun on them or a knife or whatever. Okay. There's a line in the sand that's there. It's called lethal force or fear of life. And if they legit had a reason to be fearful for their life, okay, fine. There's none of this in George Floyd's case. It is clear-cut dry that there's no reason this guy should have been pinned down the way he was at all.
And that's the case with a lot of the cases that have happened recently like this.
Yeah.
There's been no reason for a lot of these people. Well, there's no reason for any of these people to have been killed. Let's get that straight. But as far as what the police describe as their reason, it doesn't seem like there's been much of a reason for a good portion of these.
Legitimate.
Like, exactly. Like, okay, I can't remember the case right now off the top of my head, but I'm remembering something like, a police officer asked a guy that he had pulled over to get his wallet out, and he was reaching into his jacket to get his wallet out, and then the police officer gets all freaked out and pulls his gun on him. Like, dude, he's doing what you asked him to do. How are you going to get upset about that?
I know. And it's crazy because if you hear a black person, talk about the steps, especially a black male, talk about the steps that they take to basically stay alive when they get pulled over by a police officer. It's crazy. Yeah. They literally think about every move. They have their both hands on the dash. They have all their paperwork already out on the dash so that they can clearly see they don't have a weapon on them.
It's insane. And I've been pulled over before and have legit had to explain to an officer, this is what I am doing. I should not, as a citizen, have to explain to an officer, I am going to this compartment in my vehicle because you asked for yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't have to do that as a citizen, period. But the fact that a person of color has to think about this every single time, that's terrifying.
We don't have to worry about it as much because for me, you two are, white males, but me, I'm a female too. And that being a white female, I'm going to be honest, also plays to my advantage. Because, police officers don't... Actually, I don't think a police officer would ever view me as a threat. But even, women of color have to think about that.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
It doesn't matter if they're male or female. Like, both genders have to think about that.
Yeah, we were listening to the official podcast of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And there was an episode where they were talking about the episode where Terry gets stopped by another police officer because he's walking around his neighborhood trying to find his kid blanket. And he gets like held at gunpoint because this guy thinks that he's trying to like go around stalking this neighborhood to see if there's anything he can break into or whatever.
Even though it's his own neighborhood.
Exactly, yeah. And during the episode, the actor who plays Terry Crews, explains that, he has to, not only does he have to go through those steps every time he gets pulled over or whatever, but he also has to sit down and teach his kids about these things too, which is, I couldn't imagine having to sit my son down and say, son, if you get pulled over, there's a good chance that you might die. That it's just plain facts. If you do something that this police officer perceives as a threat, there's a good chance that you're not going to come home.
It's so hard because, like, as a mom, like, I mean, all parents worry, both moms and dads, but there's something about a mom and a son. And, I know how much I love my son as a mom. And I can only imagine what it feels like as a mom to have to look your child in the eye, some of whom are only like 10 or 11, right? That's still pretty young. That's fourth grade, fourth or fifth grade. And look at them and say, listen, if you're walking down the street, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. That just so that if a police officer sees you, you're not perceived as a threat. Like, and again, I teach young children, so I had a young boy who was a mixed. He was half white, half black, but he's still, his what do you call it? His skin color is still, brown enough where his complexion is still brown enough to where when he gets to a certain age, and he's a tall kid, so when he gets to a certain age, I guarantee you his mom and dad are going to have to talk to him about how to behave themselves. And this little boy is so sweet, and I could not, and so cute. I couldn't imagine, having to do that and the danger that they feel, especially, it's one thing if it's, yourself, but, you fear way more for your kids. Like you would rather it be you,
I just don't know.
Yeah.
The whole thing just, it's a culture shift that we need to have now. I thought it happened already. I truly thought in my younger youth, I'm still pretty young, but still, I thought this had happened, and I thought we were done with this, and I knew there was a little bit of racism still about, like, the Hicks, and
but
I didn't think it was like this.
It honestly seemed like, I know where you're coming from. It honestly seemed like it was a minority.
Yeah,
and there's a good potential that it still is,
and I feel like it really is. It's just.
But the fact that it happens at all is, that's the thing.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's happening, I think the reason it feels so big is because of not necessarily the amount, but the people who are showing these acts of violence toward different races. It's the police officers. It's the people in charge. And so, whenever you're put in any sort of leadership position, there is a magnifying glass on you.
Yep.
So whatever you do is like times 10.
If the people that are supposed to protect us don't protect us, who's going to protect us?
Exactly. And I mean, speaking of which, I don't know if you guys have seen the videos of the peaceful protests and then the groups of police officers hitting these innocent people with batons.
We've got
and spraying them with tear gas.
Tear gas, rubber bullets. I've heard so many stories of people being hit by rubber bullets and stuff, and
I
actually
think they're supposed to ricochet them, right? And they're not.
They are supposed
they're-
to fire them at the ground
Mhm.
Yeah.
in front of the subject at a specific angle. And
Yeah.
it's supposed to ricochet off the ground.
Yeah.
And like that itself makes it lose a lot of its velocity. But I also feel like it would probably lead to some type of tumble where it would hit at a more blunt angle and dissipate its energy over a larger area, a larger surface area, versus aiming at somebody's face with this blessed thing and shooting them. You don't think that's not going to kill somebody if it goes in the wrong spot?
Mhm.
Guarantee you if that goes through somebody's eye, that kills somebody.
Listen, I can't remember the exact police department that this guy worked with, but this is a person of color that worked with a specific police department, and it was like he worked with them on not crisis management, but like de-escalation of
Dangerous situations.
stops and whatnot. Yeah, exactly. And during these riots, I guess he was trying to help somebody out. Like he was trying to help somebody out, get them out of harm's way, and he was going to go up to these police officers and like try and calm them down because he's worked for them. He'd apparently worked with them for like 3 years.
Was he in uniform?
No, he wasn't in uniform. But I mean, he's probably a civilian anyway, so he didn't have a uniform. But this is somebody that these police officers knew, regardless, and they still shot at him. Not only that, but one of the bullets hit him in the groin,
Ouch.
which seemingly ruptured a testicle.
Just say it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this
I'm
guy
not
had
laughing because of that. That's awful.
this guy had just gotten married to his wife like 4 years previously, and they had just started
Trying to have kids.
started to talk about having kids. Yeah, so
No.
they're not sure if this means that he can't have kids anymore, but you shouldn't have to worry about something like that. It's insane that, I mean, yes, we do have places in our country where the peaceful protests have transitioned into looting, and not necessarily because the peaceful protesters have turned into looters, but because people are coming up behind the peaceful protesters and doing things that these peaceful protesters don't want them to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard that majority of the protests are actually peaceful. It's like a very small amount of people who are actually doing looting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the police response for that, I feel like, is somewhat justified. Should they be shooting rubber bullets at people regardless? No. However, the tear gas and shooting rubber bullets at the ground and the batons and whatnot, maybe not even the batons, but regardless, for the looters, it somewhat makes sense. But for the peaceful protesters, for them to be firing tear gas into people and beating people that are just standing there with their hands up or whatever, that seems like...
Yeah.
That just seems like, they're just... They don't care.
Yeah.
They're just going on the offensive to go on the offensive.
Well, I was listening to the Try Guys podcast, the Tripod, and they just released a podcast about this matter, and actually I think 3 out of the 4 of them, there's 4 of them, but 3 out of the 4 of them went to protests in the California, like Los Angeles area. Mm-hmm. And they were saying how, the police were basically escalating the situation rather than de-escalating the situation. And that I guess in LA, they have curfews at like 1 p.m. or whatever because of the looting and the rioting that is supposedly going on. But what they will do is they will not tell the people the curfew until like right before or something like that. And then when people are trying to leave to go home from the protest, the police are basically blocking off the road so that they basically have them cornered
Mhm.
so that after curfew they'll start like tear gassing them and shooting rubber bullets at them and whipping them with batons but these people are trying to go home and be obedient to the curfew, and the police are not letting them, so that they can purposely beat them. And then one of the Try Guys said that the police were like laughing and like making a joke out of it. And then if you look at this clip on Facebook, I saw this clip of these different protests, and before one of the police officers sprayed with tear gas, the police officer told him, "Don't get a good enough look. It's okay, just go, just do it." Like, basically telling him to dehumanize the people he was tear gassing. It's like, why do we need to use that much military force on people? This is not a militant country, you know? Like, it's supposed to be a democracy. Well, actually a republic. But regardless, we're supposed to have freedoms. And the people who are protesting have the freedom to do so.
Mhm.
It's in the Constitution. And it doesn't matter what race they are. You know?
See, stupid stuff like, and this will get into another heavy topic if we're not careful, so I don't want it to, but stupid stuff like this is the exact reason why we have to have the Second Amendment. And I've seen so many people in the past say, we need gun control. You don't need this, you don't need that. That's what the police are for. I'm sorry, but if the police are doing this activity, then yes, armed citizens need to be a thing, because otherwise, what's going to stop the police from this nonsense?
I mean, that's the exact reason for the Second Amendment.
Exactly.
We're not... Yes, the police are supposed to protect us, but what happens if the police just stop protecting us?
Either they can't, because
Mhm.
there's not enough of them, or there's some rogue faction that happens, or something like that. And they won't see it that way. A certain group of people won't see it that way. They'll just be like, it's just protesting, it's just rioting, this, that, and all that stuff. You guys are the exact reason why we have to have a Second Amendment.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And it doesn't help. I don't want to get too political. But it doesn't help that the person, in charge of the United States right now is basically on the side of the police. Let's just put it that way.
Mhm.
He has no empathy or sympathy. Empathy implies you can put yourself in your shoes.
Let's put it this way. The past 4 ex-presidents that are still alive have all erred on the side of the populace, saying that this is something that needs to stop. This is something that we should be focusing on. And yet the sitting president, the president that we shouldn't have voted in, let's be frank.
Somehow wiggled his way into office.
Yes.
Squeezed his way in there, even though I don't know how he did that.
He refuses to acknowledge anything about this because he thinks he's right. He's so egotistical
I'm sorry.
and
but
so
he's
on the
wrong.
side of the wrong people that,
And he
I
called
don't
them
know.
thugs.
yeah,
And but yet the KKK protests, he said they're good people on both sides. I mean, I could be taking this out of context. I could, but from what I understand, I don't know how many months ago it was, a KKK or white supremacy, I guess protest or something went violent, and Trump basically was supporting and sympathetic to the people in the KKK who got hurt.
I think you've got it right.
When these people of color are coming together and saying, we've been treated wrongly for hundreds of years. Please, let us have the decency to just live without being questioned all the time about our motives.
without having to fear for our lives.
And fear for the
24/7.
lives of our children.
That's the whole thing right there.
Trump's like, no.
No.
You don't have the right to protest or riot about it because protesting isn't making enough noise.
I'm not
for the riot.
Yes.
No.
I'm not for the riot. I'm
What
not saying
none of
that
us are.
Yeah.
Let's get
No,
that
but-
straight. none of us are for the riots. I think the riots are probably at least partially, the other side, the police trying to make the peaceful protesters look bad, because I've seen video of undercover police officers hidden amongst the protesters and looters. So there's that. But yeah, the looting is not good.
The looting isn't right.
No,
But from what it looks like, the looting is very, like we said earlier, a very small portion of the people who are
there's
protesting.
two sides to every coin, and there's two coins at play here. You've got the peaceful protesters, and then you've got the, for lack of a better word, violent rioters who are just there to vandalize things.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got the cops, one side of the coin being the idiots, like, what's his name?
The guy who got arrested. Yeah.
Devin Chauvin.
Yes,
whatever
thank
his
you.
name is.
God, pisses me off. Derek Chauvin.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then you've got people like the chief of police for Chattanooga, who, after seeing what Derek had done, turned to his force and said, if any of you don't see a problem with this, turn in your badges now. So you got one side of the police that have no choice but to go out with shields because of the stupid rioters. And then you got the other side of the police that's causing the protest.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, how do you win in this situation?
And it's hard because we don't want to sit here and say, all police are bad, because we know that's not the case. Like I said, Ben and I have a family member who's on the force and who is a wonderful person.
Mm-hmm.
In and out, but probably both on the force and off the force. But at the same time, it's like these there needs to be some sort of accountability for those police officers who are twisted.
Yes.
And who are having power trips.
Yes.
Let's put it this way. It shouldn't have taken 18 times for this guy to have been reprimanded. And
no, he should have been on the force. He should have been
one
off the
and
force
done.
a long time
That's
ago.
what I say. One and done.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Excessive force should not have any place on any police department.
Absolutely not.
Anywhere.
There should be a zero tolerance policy for that. If there's excessive force beyond what is reasonable used in any sort of fashion without justification behind it, there should be a zero tolerance policy for that across the nation. And just, I'm sorry, you either need to get your life together and get some type of professional psychiatric help to figure out why you can't control your temper or your anger.
Yeah.
Or you just not need to be in this or any other type of profession that gives you any authoritative power over anybody. Because there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, I don't even know what they gain from using excessive force. Like, I don't even understand what about it gives them that high.
They gain a feeling of power. They gain a feeling of having power over something. I feel like. I mean,
and some people just can't handle that, and that's the problem.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They can't handle not being in control of a situation.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess, I'm not like this in the classroom, but there are teachers out there who, want to, there's like a dictatorship in their classroom.
Oh, yeah. It's not just the police profession or the security profession.
No, it's not.
It could be education. Yeah. It could be any sort of managerial corporation of any type where somebody's supervisor and has direct subordinates, and they treat it like a power trip. But
you don't have to belittle someone in order to effectively manage
Absolutely
them.
not. But some people just can't handle it.
Exactly. They don't. Some people just don't understand that, respect is earned when it's given.
Yeah. But I'm a lot less scared of a CEO at a retail company having a power trip over his employees.
Because the CEO hopefully doesn't have tear gas at hand and military
versus
uniforms.
an armed police officer. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is it's a very long,
Yeah, I
very
don't
long
think we
discussion
intended
on
it
that.
to be that long, but
No, but that's
whatever.
okay.
It
I
needed to be
think.
said.
Okay, so on that note, we've got some articles that kind of have to do with what we've been talking about. There's one that I found interesting. Uh, there's some Wi-Fi kiosks in New York City that have been there since 2015. I guess they're just around the city. You know, you could see them. They display advertisements and stuff usually, and NYC fun facts. But during this whole thing, I'm not 100% sure of the corporation who runs it. I guess it's the corporation Link NYC. They have decided to display the names of not various, but victims of police on people of color violence from the past few years. The names that they've decided to put out there are Trayvon Martin, Eric Garner, Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, Freddie Gray, Philando Castile, Sandra Bland, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd. The list includes the names of black people who died in police custody or from gun violence, including the final edition of Floyd, the Minneapolis man whose death was a key catalyst in this latest round of mass protests. Each name runs for 15 seconds at a time. This seems like it could be one of those just like stupid corporate Twitter posts where it's like, we very much value the people of color in this organization. We strive to do better every day, and we're talking to the people of color that we work with, blah, 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 blah. It's like it's white text on a black background, and then they've got their logo on the bottom. One of those corporate Twitter posts.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very much it could feel like that, but I feel like it's not something that they're really advertising. It's just something that they started doing. It's not something like, hey, look at me. I'm supporting this thing. I tweeted it out too. You should look at it. So
Yeah,
I don't know. I thought it was cool.
I think if you're going to do something like this, and not call out attention to it, and be like, "Oh, look at what we did," then I think it's probably coming from the heart. To be honest, if it's just something that you're just going to randomly quietly do something that is supportive and not call any attention to it, not get any intended publicity out of it, I feel like it's probably from the heart. I would hope something like that is from the heart. If you're going to do something like that just so that you can get some good PR out of it, then I'm sorry, but you're kind of a douche.
Yeah. See, that's why I don't like these pandering corporate Twitter posts, because it just seems like they're putting something out there to try to be on the right side of history, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it just feels pandering more than it does supportive.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, I thought that was an interesting thing to touch on. The next thing that we can talk about is kind of related to the looting, if you want to touch on this interesting Apple story that we've brought.
Okay, so it's probably something that's been a feature for a while now, and I don't see why it wouldn't have been. It's something that they very easily could do. There's been some photos that have surfaced, screenshots of Apple devices having a specific one says, please return to Apple Walnut Street, which is probably referring to the Apple Store on Walnut Street in, I think it's Pittsburgh, but it might be Philadelphia. It's in Pennsylvania. Well, let's just put it that way. Where apparently Apple can track these devices and apparently alert local authorities These devices being the display devices within the stores that have been presumably looted, and these people that have them have probably obtained them illegally.
Mhm.
So I'm not going to feel sorry for them at all if their procured device suddenly stops working and very potentially could be pinging the local authorities to your location. I feel like it's your own stupidity there. So
Yep.
I mean, they
Yep.
track these things. Obviously, it's linked straight to the serial number. Why would they not do this? And it's probably just never caught on to anybody's attention before because nobody's done this on a massive scale before. But
Mhm.
I'd be very curious to see if, and I don't know anything about Apple's internal tracking of unsold devices. I'd be curious to see if there's any way to potentially lock devices that don't have a record of sale to them. Not only these display devices that were clearly set up for the store, but I wonder if any of them that may have been like in store stock somewheres that presumably got stolen too could also do this.
I would
Be
assume. I mean,
interesting.
I've bought a couple of things at the Apple Store. Not necessarily an iPhone, but um, they do something in the back before they bring it out to you in a bag. So
Yeah.
it could very well be that they're disabling the location tracking and whatnot, just by like maybe scanning it over something in the back.
Exactly.
There,
Logging it as a valid purchase. That way,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
serial numbers have been logged, and
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know. Apple will not comment on issues of security, so they're not confirming nor denying any of this. They just won't
Mhm.
comment of issues of security, which I don't blame them.
No.
But I say it's all your damn fault. If you stole a phone from the Apple Store during your quote peaceful protest slash free expedition into a broken into store because you're gonna do some piracy while you're at it, well then that's on you.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and then the last little article that we've got is I thought it was interesting for those of you who might want to partake in a protest or what have you. There's a couple little apps, web apps, whatever you want to call them, for blurring out faces and scrubbing metadata for any photos that you may have taken. So if you or people around you, if you want to blur out people's faces, there is a tool that we'll link down in the show notes. I don't think it has a name. It looks like it's just called Image Scrubber. So it's a web app that runs entirely in the browser. You can selectively blur photos, adjust the amount of the blur, and you can remove all of the metadata from the photo, which metadata basically tells you what sort of phone the photo was taken on, all of the information about that phone, like the aperture and whatnot. Sometimes it could even include location data if you haven't turned that off. So it's not necessarily not necessarily something that you might want to be out there per se, because you don't necessarily want people to be able to track you all over the place. So this is something that you can run your photo through and not have that information in there anymore. And there's also this really, really cool camera app that looks like it's for an iPhone only, but still pretty cool. It is a camera app called Censr, which basically pixelates. It basically cuts you out of the photo in real time, and not just your face. It cuts you out of. It cuts your entire body out of like the photo or video, whatever you're taking. So it can pixelate everything. or it can cut you out. It can make you like a black hole, or it can make you like this spectrum sort of thing. It's pretty interesting. So if you want to download that on the App Store, I believe it says it only works on iPhone XR and later. So if you have an iPhone that's not that new, I guess you're out of luck as far as that goes. But if you do, it's spelled CENSR. And you can download that right now, I believe. And then there's one more thing that doesn't look like it's an app or anything. It's an iPhone shortcut that somebody built that uses Amazon's facial recognition system and automatically blurs any face it detects. The developer says that there's no way to blur images on the device, but he assures people that he doesn't save the image. So this one doesn't seem like it's necessarily as secure as the others, but it is something that you can use if you want to. We'll also link that down in the show notes. We're going to be linking all three of these down in the show notes, so you can take a look at them. But I thought that was something that we should probably have in here just in case, somebody listening to this does want to take part in a protest, but doesn't necessarily want their information being plastered all over the internet. What?
There's different donate charities, donations, I don't know.
Yes.
And petitions that people can either donate to or sign in regards to George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yes. We haven't touched on that yet, but we are going to link all those down in the description. I'm going to try and gather as many as I can and put them down there so that you guys have plenty of resources and stuff to look at and donate to if you so desire.
And if you have young children, just a side note, make sure you have constant and open conversations with your children about, in a age appropriate way, about differences. I would rather say just differences. You can touch on different races as well, but people who don't look the same as them, because it really makes a difference on how the child perceives the world. They don't come into this world with all these biases. Biases are taught to them and mirrored to them through your actions. And so having kid-appropriate conversations about them and allowing them to have a lot of contact with either diverse books or diverse shows, such as like Sesame Street, for example, is a good way to kind of help them understand what's going on, but not necessarily in a way that's inappropriate for them. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay, well, that's all we've got for the articles portion. I've got a discussion topic. David has also brought a discussion topic, but mine is just simply a question that I'm going to pose to both of you before I answer it. What should we as a nation be doing moving forward as far as racial inequality goes? Niccole, you go first.
Well, I guess it kind of piggybacks off of kind of what my little tidbit I threw in there about talking to your kids. Every generation, we have lots of different generations going on, but like I said, children aren't born into this world with a bias toward anything. And biases are taught. And so is behavior. Most behavior, I should say, is taught and mirrored through you as the adult. So if you are showing prejudices already when they're like as little as like 2 or 3, you're going to notice eventually that those prejudices are starting to come through them, in a more innocent way because they're just 3. But eventually that 3-year-old is going to be a 30-year-old. And, you're not raising a child, you're raising a future adult. And so instilling in them, that everybody is, created equal. And you, if you're white and you have white children, letting them know that they are no better than a person of color's child. And that way they're not having that filter around them, and they don't think anything of it. They don't think twice when they're interacting with people who are different than them. And they're not scared of people who are different than them. I think sometimes, fear is passed down. So if you're apprehensive around a Black male, it's not going to surprise me, or it shouldn't surprise you if your child is then apprehensive toward a Black male. So that's just my tidbit. Start young.
Okay, David, what do you think?
I think part of this is probably just it's a generational thing that's gotten passed down, but I'm also beginning to wonder if this is also something that maybe people have not shown in public, their prejudices, but they do it a lot more at home.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they think they're okay, and maybe they think that it's not hurting anything, but I promise you it is, especially if it is near younger, more influenced children, like Niccole has pointed out. Your tendencies can be easily passed on, so you might want to take an inner look at yourself. And I'm not going to say that you don't have the right to feel how you feel. I think if you have an opinion that you're somehow better than another race, I strongly disagree with your opinion. I'm not going to tell you you can't have that opinion. That's not my place. There's the Lord Almighty for that, which I'm sure he'll deal with you in an appropriate fashion when that comes. But please don't spread your ignorance. Contain it to yourself if you feel you must have this. Because like Niccole said, this is a learned thing. You're not born into this. Kids are as innocent as pure driven snow, and they will, honestly, I think kids are somehow the best indicators for how their parents actually think at home.
100% are.
Because
as a teacher, I can back that up. 100%.
They have no
100%.
filter. So
No,
if they're going to say something that they don't realize is wrong, it's a fast tell. So there's ways for that to continue to spread, and I'm not going to say you can't have your own opinion, but keep it to yourself, because I don't want to hear it. Because I'm done with it. I know Niccole and Ben are done with it, and a vast majority of other people are just done with it. This has got to stop. I mean, it's not just about race. It's about tons of other things, too. Influence your kids with other things, such as maybe a local kid has a disability or something like that. A mental disability or physical disability. One sexual orientation versus another sexual orientation. Whatever. There's differences in any aspect in life. And you can teach your children better. To at least have an open mind. If you can't, your children can. Because I promise you, they're not tainted unless you did it. Or somebody else.
Yep.
But it takes a lot to taint somebody else's child.
Yes, it does.
If you have a corrective mind at home that is correcting that as that happens. Because if my child came home and said something like that, you best believe there'd be something to be said about that, and that child would be severely punished. Even though I don't have children yet, I guarantee you it will happen. So you can correct your children if they hear something on the school bus too. So there's ways to do it, and it needs to be done. Where they ask
questions.
Yeah, or it could be innocent too. It very well could be an innocent question. Yeah. It doesn't mean that there was a negative connotation associated with it. Like, why is he a different color, and why should I not play with him? It could be an innocent thing like that. Like, he's a different color because of genes.
Or someone told them that they can't play with them.
Exactly. The big kid said I shouldn't sit next to him because he's something else, or she's something else. That doesn't matter. Let me teach you the right thing.
Yeah.
So it can be done.
I think that kind of leads into what I wanted to answer this question with was, on top of educating your children and looking at yourself, you should also educate yourself. Because like we all said earlier, when this whole Black Lives Matter thing came out a few years ago, we were all like, okay, yeah, it's seems like it's a thing, but it doesn't really seem like it's a big thing. Is it really that big of a deal?
Apparently
Is it really something that we should be focusing on? And then I feel like this time around with this George Floyd thing and everybody kind of doubling down on it, it's really made sense to me that this isn't about putting black people on a pedestal. This is about treating them like they're human beings, treating them like they shouldn't have to fear for their lives 24/7.
Nope.
Because I don't fear for my life just stepping out on the street, going to check the mail or whatever. And nobody should.
And apparently people do. And
Exactly.
I thought, this has opened my eyes. I thought we were done. Now, it's opened my eyes a little bit before George Floyd happened. It's been a few years, but it's like, oh God, are you serious? Do we really have to have a poor, innocent 14-year-old black child fear for his life because his dad just got murdered by somebody?
Yeah. Cannot understand. And I read something that kind of made it click for me, because I think it sounds like we were all on the same page when the Black Lives Matter movement first happened. We didn't quite understand, but as we've begun to educate ourselves, we're starting to get it. And I read something that said, white privilege doesn't mean that your life hasn't been hard. It just means that your skin color isn't one of those things making it harder. And I think that's what made it make sense to me.
Yeah.
It's like,
see,
I've had my struggles,
word.
but at least my skin color isn't one of those struggles.
Yeah, I hated that word. I was like, no, you're not going to say my life has been a bunch of roses because I am white. Because it hasn't been. I promise you this.
Yeah,
but
it's not.
Reading it through the context you put it in is really how it should be done. Because it's not about making it easier.
And
it's
I
about
think that's
not
what
making
they've been
it harder.
saying. I think that's what they've been saying from the beginning. I just think finally someone was able to kind of explain it to us white folk over here.
Exactly. Because without having these experiences, it is a little hard.
Someone who understood how to kind of dumb it down for us a little bit helped.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's hard to relate to something when you haven't experienced it, you know? So that's all I wanted to say, was that on top of educating your kids and kind of looking at yourself, you should also be educating yourself continually, not just about this, but about everything.
Yep.
But considering this discussion, especially about this.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Niccole put it nicely, educate your kids. I somewhat said educate your kids, but also look in on yourself, because that's the big issue. It's got to start from somewhere. And then Ben put it so elegantly as teaching yourself better.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Three ways to do it.
Be willing to grow and be willing to be teachable.
Exactly. And if you're too damn stubborn, just don't spread your ignorance, please. If you can't accomplish Ben's step, at least do Niccole's. At least just teach your kids right, please.
Or just keep your mouth shut.
Or just keep your mouth shut and say nothing. Which is kind of not the right thing to do, but at least you're not hurting any. You're not helping, but you're not hurting.
Keep it in your brain. No one really wants to hear people being hateful.
Exactly.
Personally.
Exactly. Thank you.
Okay, so did you want to get into your discussion topic, David?
Okay, so we kind of touched on this, but we kind of didn't. So this is just the small part that I wanted to... I don't even know... This isn't directed towards any specific race, guys, because... very clearly, we just said, don't do that. But also, I don't think this is a racial thing at all. I think this is just pure stupidity. And that belongs to the human race, period.
Yeah.
These riots, I'm sorry, there's a difference between a riot and a protest, guys. And I fully support your rights to protest. These riots are not about George Floyd, and anybody who says they are is kidding themselves, and just stop it. Looting Target, did you guys have to shut down? Or
No, I don't think so.
No. Mm-mm.
so
It's been
because
kinda
I know
peaceful
you
here.
said they were talking about it, but it was that would have been today, so I guess not because you were at work.
Yeah.
But we did have stores that did have to shut down over fear of rioters.
Right.
Half of downtown Nashville was shut down the other night because last Saturday they had a peaceful protest.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned very ugly within a couple of hours after the protest and went straight up rioting with people setting the Nashville Historic Courthouse on fire. And I'll be the first one to tell you, it was 2 white guys that did it.
I've heard that the riots have actually been I don't want to say most of them. I haven't read up enough about them, but I've heard that they've kind of been instigated by white people and not black people.
Yeah.
I've seen
It's
a
definitely-
lot of white supremacist influence within that seems to suggest that this is somebody trying to
Make the black
these protests.
Black peaceful protesters
Exactly.
look
Yeah.
bad.
It's tainting their protests, which are in good cause for a damn good reason, and making
And
it
they should
just
be doing.
stupid, look stupid, and makes them look bad, and that's what is hurting anything, and nobody needs to be defending these riots. And I've seen plenty of my friends on Facebook do it, and it's like, guys, this is not the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially if it's white led to make the black protesters look bad, then
Exactly.
definitely no, the riots are not a good thing.
No.
Leave these people alone. Let them speak up for themselves, please.
If you needed any more convincing that these riots were started by none other than idiots, Jake Paul, the internet's biggest idiot,
Oh, gosh, what do you do?
not even like a week ago, I think it was earlier this week, got caught participating in looting in Scottsdale, Arizona, on camera
Of course.
with his vlog camera,
Oh,
no less.
Good.
So he was filming himself doing this.
good. Wonderful.
He posted a statement on Twitter saying that he was just documenting it. He wasn't going around looting anything. Blah 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 blah. But let's be real. If you're there for a reason. Like, whether or not you participated, you're there and you're not stopping anything. You're just an onlooker, which is, I mean, to put it bluntly, it's no better than the police officers who were there with the dude that killed George Floyd.
Yeah. Innocent.
You're not helping anything.
Quote, innocently looking at the side, being a bystander. Not you didn't do anything. No, they didn't do anything, and that's the problem.
Yeah,
they didn't
exactly.
do anything. They didn't help him crush his neck. They didn't have him tased or something. They just stood there and did nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same thing as somebody being at a riot and, quote, doing nothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sure.
And he did actually get charged too.
Good.
So
Good.
he's going to have to. I don't remember exactly when, but he's going to have to head back to Scottsdale and have his day in court. So
Good. I hope
he's not getting off. Thankfully,
I hope he gets put in jail. Personally,
for real.
But because that's someone who deserves to be put in jail right there. Oh, I don't know. I just feel like it's hard because it's one of those things where, like, you can be in the middle. Like, I saw this meme that had a Venn diagram, and, like, there's different sections of the Venn diagram, and, like, it says me in the middle of all of these thoughts that I agree with. Like, I agree, and I'm outraged by George Floyd's death and the fact that these poor people of color have been oppressed for so long for no good reason at all. Actually, there never would be a good reason. And then, also thinking like, good police officers, the ones who are brave and doing the right thing, should be respected and backed up because they are the ones trying to protect us. Not the bad ones, but the good ones, which I agree with, because I don't think you should just disrespect cops, but you should, respect the ones who are doing their job and doing it well. And also being like, rioting and looting is wrong and should not happen, And then there's me in the middle. And I believe with all of that. And then like there's another Venn diagram that says like peaceful protests should happen and need to happen. So like I feel like I'm in the middle of all of that, like where I agree with all of those statements.
Yeah.
And because I don't want to sit here and like harp on the police because not like I don't even know what number of the police officers are actually rotten.
It's probably a minuscule amount, and that's the sad thing.
And it's just really sad because the ones who are doing their job right need to be honored and respected and commemorated for their bravery.
Mm-hmm.
But they just want to say F the police, spread that message. Yeah. That's the wrong message too. I'm sorry, that's not going to help anything. There's the ones that have said, well, they won't listen unless we riot. It's the same as the white folk throwing tea into the harbor dressed as Indians. I've seen that argument. It's like, I don't think that's the same. Maybe it's the same. I'm pretty sure it's not the same. I'm pretty sure I could probably see a bunch of people that could have a riot by burning stuff in the middle of the street that they brought from home and not go break into Jimmy Joe Bob over there and steal all his stuff. Plus, from a neighborhood that you're supposed to be a part of, you're hurting your own neighbor, for God's sakes.
And the small businesses are already hurting from COVID-19.
They don't need
a lot of them are already going out of business because of the lack of people shopping because of this pandemic. So turning around and stealing their materials, I mean, people are saying, it's just materials. People are more valuable than materials. Well, yeah, but what if the people don't have money to restock?
Yeah,
because they don't have any income right now.
You just burned every piece of their stock, and they had nothing left because they haven't had income for the last 4 months because of COVID.
Insurance only covers so much.
Exactly.
It's not like, granted, Target is a probably multi-billion-dollar corporation, so they probably do have the finances to restock because Target was considered an essential business.
Target would be okay. You shouldn't be doing it to Target either, but they'd be okay. Yeah, but the small businesses, the businesses with the people who are working really hard, your neighbor,
and they're aimlessly. I feel like they're aimlessly doing it too. I don't think they're caring whether the owner is a person of color or a white person.
They absolutely don't care. They're just trying to get free stuff. Mm-hmm. Specifically talking about the rioters and the looters, guys, not the protesters.
The protesters are fine. The protesters need to keep doing what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
and
don't stop.
And continue to be brave in the spite of possibly getting beaten for no good reason by a dirty cop. But I don't know. It's just really hard to be put in this situation. And it's really sad that it just went from bad to worse 2020.
Yeah.
Hopefully beauty will come from the ashes. And the people of color will finally get the justification that they're looking for. And that's what I'm praying for. But it just looks like 2020 started off with this horrible pandemic, shutting everything down. I was supposed to go to my cousin's wedding, and I can't now because of this stupid virus, and, because the borders are closed. And then George Floyd gets murdered by the cop, and now we have riots and looting going on.
We had murder hornets.
Oh my gosh, 2020, bye.
And the murder hornets.
What?
And the Murder Hornets.
I don't know if I've...
Have you seriously not heard of them?
I've heard of them, but I didn't know they were like...
They're here now. They're in the US of A.
Oh, gosh. Are they, like, really, really big?
They're not, like, 6 inches, but they're pretty big, yeah.
Oh, gosh. That's my worst, like, nightmare. I hate bugs, like, with a passion. I mean, Ben's scared of wasps, too, but I hate bugs of literally any kind. So, as I'm sure you know, David, but still. That's like gives me anxiety just thinking about that.
Okay.
Ben said 6 inches, and I was just thinking of a 6-inch bee, and I was like, "Oh God, no, that's Australia. Yeah. They already burned Australia down, trying to kill them. We don't need none of that here."
That's another thing that happened in 2020. Good Lord. There's so many bad things that have happened this year.
What drugs did 2020 take before it entered?
Oh, World War III was
2020
somewhere in there too.
Dropped some LSD.
God. I just give up on this year. Somebody said, "Can we reboot and restart?" It's like, no.
Can we restart?
We're not restarting. We just need to delete.
You know how excited everyone gets at the beginning of a new year? You know, when they're like, oh, you know, they always have those posts like, it's the start of a new decade, and, you know, and 2019 wasn't the greatest year for me, but 2020 is going to be better.
If this is how the rest of this decade's going to go.
2020 is the worst year of everybody's life.
I hope this isn't a preview as to what the decade of the 20s is going to be.
Let's hope not.
Because, I mean, I was in high school for a majority of the 2010s, but and that was a pretty good decade, but like I don't want the 2020s to be like awful every year. It's awful and awful. Sucks. You know, the 1920s were pretty awful.
Yes.
Number 20.
Well, no. The 20s were okay. It was 29.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. The 1930s were awful.
The 30s
I'm sorry. I'm getting my history wrong.
It was the Roaring 20s, so we
it was the Great Depression was in the 30s.
You know,
maybe
if this
every
is
century
2012,
it's a different decade.
Yes.
You know how, like, in the 1900s it was the 30s, and now in the 2000s it's the 20s.
It could be. Good God! Sorry for anybody born around 3010. You're in trouble. If this was 2012, I'd swear it was the end of the world.
Be 2110 is what you're thinking of.
Oh yeah, 2110, not 3010. Oh God. David lost his mind. Can't compute. Can't do math. Going 1,000 years in the future.
All right. Well, I think this is a good place to leave it. We talked a lot about racial inequality and stuff, and like I said, we've got links down in the description for resources and donation links and stuff. If you guys do end up wanting to donate, there's nothing. I don't think there's really anything else we can say. So that's we're just gonna leave it here.
Other than 2021, hurry up.
Yeah, okay.
And please be a trifle better than this, because we just can't. I refuse to go through this again.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will. We'll talk to you guys on the next episode. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks for listening to this episode of Podcast Period. This episode was hosted and produced by Ben and co-hosted and edited by David. You can contact Ben on Twitter at BenPlaysVidges. That's BenPlays, VIDYAS. And you can contact David on Twitter at Car6by16. If you'd like to chat with us about any of the topics on this episode, you can hit up the show at Podcast Period on Twitter, or shoot us an email at podcastperiodpodcast@gmail.com. We also have a new website that has launched featuring new articles written by us, as well as links to all the episodes. Please visit that at podcastperiod.com. Want to do more for the show, but aren't sure how? We have a Patreon for that. For as little as $1 a month, you can get early access to episodes and so much more, and support the show while doing it. Just go to patreon.com/podcastperiod. Do you love sci-fi movies and shows? So do we. That's why we created the podcast from Planet X, a podcast where we analyze and discuss your favorite pieces of sci-fi media. Check it out at the link in the show notes. That's all for this week. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
This was a Nerdgasm podcast production,
Well, that was another in a long series of regrettable life choices.
served at nerdgasmpodcast.com.